Extra starts now.
Hey, welcome into Weather Extra. Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt.
And I'm meteorologist Lauren Linehan. Wes, the big story obviously is just how darn good it feels outside.
It feels incredible. You know, it's one of those days I said, I've just got to find something to do. You got to get out in this weather.
Yeah, I was actually inclined to get up a little early today, go on a walk, maybe go to the park. It just feels so good outside. I keep saying this is the type of weather you want to have coffee on your porch before you get your day started.
Certainly do. I went back and looked, and this morning, Anniston dropped to 54 degrees.
Wow.
And, yeah, I went back. It was early, actually Cinco de Mayo. That's the last time we...
Love some Cinco.
Yeah, that's the last time we had temperatures like this. So, hey, we're getting into that little taste of fall, and that is the next big thing that we're getting into. We've had another surge of dry air that's moved in here, and as we take a look at the next big thing on Weather Extra, looks like lows tonight back into the low to mid 50s here as this stable setup has taken over across Alabama. You know, with that north wind, it's going to feel very nice this evening. Notice 79 right now, lovely sunset, and by the way, sunset time now 6:49, so get those cameras ready. I want you to send some of those sunset photos in. We love to share those here on Weather Extra, but you can see a beautiful view there from Brookwood Baptist Medical Center, really making, when the sun starts to set there, you can see those high clouds really come out, and that's those upper level clouds, which, by the way, we got a trivia question coming up, Weather 101, and it's going to have something to do with clouds. 79 right now in Summerton, and the winds out of the north, and you can see a live look there from downtown Jasper where we're at 79 degrees, but enjoying beautiful weather out there. Let's talk about Tuesday. Get you ready for tomorrow. Out the door again. Next big thing will be these cooler morning low temperatures. I mentioned Anniston started out around 54 today. You can see in the morning similar temperatures from Gadsden to Talladega. Even West Alabama. Look at Aliceville, 56 in the morning, 57 in Demopolis, 54 around Jasper. But this is kind of the time of the year when we have these big diurnal temperature spreads because it's so dry in the mornings. We have the cool starts. You get the thermostat adjusted, and then in the afternoon it's time to kick on the AC. I mean, we'll have 80s coming back later on in the day, but it will be mostly sunny. Now, the overnight temperatures will modify by the middle of the week. The average lows for this time of the year are typically in the 60s, so we'll get back into that ballpark. Looks like around the middle of the week towards the end of the week. But we'll talk more about the temperatures, also what's on the way for the weekend. That's all coming up. But over this past weekend, post-tropical cyclone Lee, after being downgraded from a Category 1 hurricane, brought damage to parts of New England. Lee made landfall in Nova Scotia on Saturday, according to the National Hurricane Center, knocked out power to tens of thousands of people and brought tropical storm force winds, rough surf to northeast and maritime Canada. Gusts as high as 83 miles per hour were recorded in Maine, and many trees fell near homes. The storm moved out of the area on Sunday with sustained winds of 45 miles per hour.
Thanks, Wes. Well, down in Louisiana, the state is coping with an unprecedented wildfire season, and it could get worse. More than 550 fires swept through the state just in the last month alone, scorching thousands of acres of land and forcing entire towns to evacuate. Local officials warn, though, that the season is far from over, with extreme heat and dry conditions replacing the usual rainy season. Wildfires have also caused hardship for landowners, and companies that manage large tracts of timberland and mills have been facing the repercussions. And as wildfires continue to be a growing threat, not just in Louisiana, but other parts of the U.S., brave men and women are jumping out of planes to get closer to the flames. Smoke jumpers are an elite group of firefighters who parachute out of planes to land near remote fires. It's a very dangerous job, and the physical tests during training are intense.
Smoke jumping was created to be able to insert wildland firefighters into areas of the forest that are remote and either unable to be accessed by foot or vehicle, or would be untimely to do so. So let's say there's lightning that comes through the area and there's remote wildfires, we can get there quickly.
The Forest Service has about 320 smoke jumpers that work across 7 bases. When they're not working during peak fire season, they're out cleaning up forests and doing prescribed fire work. And we'll be back with more First Alert Weather Extra in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to First Alert Weather Extra. I'm Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt. Tonight we bring you a sign of hope after catastrophic wildfires in Hawaii. So we have a historic banyan tree is showing signs of survival as groups of leaves are now sprouting. Volunteers saving the 150-year-old tree say that the leaves are a positive sign of long-term recovery. The beloved tree is among many major structures damaged or destroyed in the fires that ravaged Maui last month. So another one of those stories, Lauren, coming in out of Maui. We've been seeing so many stories there, and certainly the recovery. It's still is going to be a ways to go there for folks, and we're certainly thinking about folks in Hawaii, and we've been thinking about folks in the Northeast. You know, talking about Lee earlier, moving through, but a lot of weather happenings. It's nice to see things finally settling down a little bit.
It is, and
at least for us.
Honestly, and we see so many stories of resiliency after these natural disasters come through. So sometimes you can just see it with leaves popping up on a tree. So lovely to see.
All right, so we got some Weather 101 to throw at you tonight. Big.
Hey, Wes. Well, that is actually coming up, weather words, but we want to go to our leaks box to show you exactly what that question is. And let me pull it up for you right now. What type of clouds are thin, wispy, and made of ice? Is it A, cumulus, B, nimbostratus, C, cirrus, D, cumulonimbus? Now, here's the thing. If you were looking outside today, Wes, we were actually looking at some of those clouds.
Well, I gave a little hint earlier. I said we got some high clouds out there, so check it out. We'll have the answer coming up, and scan the code, by the way, and you can submit your answers there too as well. We have a little poll going, so we can see how many correct answers we get.
Right, and so you see that QR code at the top right corner of your screen. That is what you would scan. But coming up on First Alert Weather Extra, when we return, meteorologist Matt Daniel and Mickey Ferguson give you an update on the fall equinox just around the corner later this week. Plus, language nerds, this segment is for you. Weather words are back. The word of the day after the break.
No clue. So
Let's see. Was the Tuscaloosa cam supposed to come up? Yes. All right. Welcome back to First Alert Weather Extra. I'm meteorologist Lauren Linehan. So you may have noticed it has been feeling mighty good outside today. We got our first real fall cool front. Now granted, it's been ridiculously hot this afternoon. I think so, a little bit more hot natured unless you're in this studio. But that cool front has got us all feeling those fall time vibes. So meteorologists Matt Daniel and Mickey Ferguson bring us all the goods on what to expect as the first day of fall quickly approaches this weekend.
Hello, can you go? Hello, can you go?
How much coffee have you had?
I've had a little bit too much, but we had some low temperatures this morning that really got our attention out there.
Yeah, it felt really nice for those loving fall-like weather. And check out our weather watchers. How about the 50s?
Crazy. It's one of those mornings you walk outside and you go, whoop, that feels like fall.
I'm pretty sure you did that when
I
you
did.
stepped outside.
I sure did. So we're in the mid-50s in many locations, from Oakman, from Trustville, for Alabaster. John King, man, 57 degrees.
Looking nice. And you know, Tania, Fred, over the weekend, they were talking all about those cooler temperatures. And you know, I'm really itching for fall. And guess what? It's almost here, Mickey.
Yeah.
It's almost here.
The autumnal equinox. And then 43 days away is Halloween. You got your costume picked out yet?
I think I might.
Really?
Yeah.
How about that?
You know why?
Why?
Because I bought it last year and I
Never
got
wore
sick
it?
and I couldn't go out. So I'm just going to use the same one I had.
Good
So,
call,
yes.
good call. And 48 days until daylight saving times ends. How about that?
How about that? So, you know, with fall, you know, you don't really mention allergies, but yeah, allergies could be an issue. You suffering with anybody?
No, I don't seem to have much of a problem with allergies, but not many problems with the trees, but the grass and the ragweed is pretty high right time.
Yep, it's time that year. So if you're sneezing a little bit, that's what it could possibly be, that ragweed pollen. So just want to give you that first alert sneeze meter. The lady in this picture, she's kind of miserable with the pollen. I feel bad for her, but yeah, medium to high range for the next 5 days.
How about that? You know, I have been sneezing a little bit. I didn't even think about it. So maybe that is the case.
That could be it. And by the way, you know, we're getting ready for fall. You can get some nice sunrise photos, some nice sunset photos, and of course, when those leaves start changing colors, we want to see them.
Yeah, but then we might have some more sneezing going on.
So make sure you download the WDRC First Alert Weather app. Yeah, it might be that ragweed there. All right.
You can use it.
I'm
if you
good.
want.
I'm
All
good.
right.
That's all I needed to see right there. Let me get my hand sanitizer, right? Say, you know what happened 19 years ago? I can't believe it's been this long. Hurricane Ivan. You remember Hurricane Ivan made a landfall on the Gulf Coast, a powerful Category 3 hurricane on September 16, 2004. I never will forget. Had a T1 line hooked to a Dell laptop. It stretched across the studio and sat there and covered that thing all day. Hurricane Ivan, as it made landfall and then moved through central Alabama. 120-mile-per-hour winds, historic storm surge. According to National Weather Service, the peak wind gusts were recorded at 145 miles per hour in Baldwin County. 145, just a short distance from Mobile. Up to 15 inches of rain also fell along parts of the Gulf Coast. And you know, that hurricane stood for the longest time as that last landfalling tropical system and direct impact in Alabama until, of course, Hurricane Sally happened. But we'll never forget Ivan. Something about those I-name systems, right, Lauren?
Yeah, Wes. I mean, we just saw that this year with Idalia. So we've been rightly so focused so much on hurricane season. But as Matt and Mickey just showed us, coming right up this weekend, we have the fall equinox. Now, some of you may have worked out a place called Equinox before, but what actually is equinox? And so today we're going to be covering that in weather words. Well, equinox is a noun, and it's basically just the time or date that occurs twice a year that the sun's direct rays are over the equator. And when that happens, you have near equal day, near equal night. And you can actually break it down by just looking at the word equal, EQUI, and then nox means night in Latin. So we will be having the sun's direct rays go directly over the equator. The equinox actually occurs early Saturday morning at 1:49, which is why we consider Saturday to be the first day of fall. So the Earth's tilt is what causes the season. So when the direct rays pass right over the equator, all areas on Earth on the fall equinox, the first day of fall, the autumnal equinox, get about 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of nighttime. And I hate to break it to y'all, but as we continue getting closer to winter, our days are going to be getting shorter, Wes. So not looking forward to that. Looking forward to fall, though.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. I know a lot of excitement with some of these cooler temperatures in the air. Still ahead on First Alert Weather Extra, what a rare beaver sighting in California could mean for the future of the state's ecosystem. But first, here's a look at today's Weather Almanac. Welcome back into First Alert Weather Extra, and the sunset view is just getting better by the minute here, but lovely colors out there, very dry, very comfortable, 79 degrees. You can see meteorologist Lauren Linehan's panning our tower camera around. There we go. What a view there. 6:49 is the sunset time, so we're capturing it live right there here on Weather Extra. 78 Gadsden, 72 in Center, Tuscaloosa at 84 degrees. Back to the west, you can see there's a severe risk. It's going to be ramping up over the plains, it looks like tomorrow. All that active weather is going to stay west of us. We stay under a north flow, which is going to keep us very dry. You can see no precipitation. It's this evening, a big drop into the 60s, and look at the 50s out the door tomorrow morning. That's the next big thing. Low to mid 50s, 54 around Pell City early on, and then lots of sun with afternoon highs in the 80s. This trend is going to continue for several more days. I think the overnight lows modify a bit by the middle of the week. We'll see those lows lows in the 60s. But things get kind of interesting later in the week. We could see an upper level low develop off the East Coast. And what happens this time of the year, a lot of times we see these upper level disturbances off the East Coast, especially off the Carolinas. And sometimes they can transform into more of a what we call a warm core type low, a tropical low. So if this does develop into a tropical system, that possibility is there, as the data suggests this system ramping up there by Saturday off to the east of us. Notice here we are in Alabama. We're on the drier side of the system, but what this will mean for us, it helps to kind of reinforce the dry setup as that passes to the east of us. It looks like Saturday even increases the chance of dry conditions, perhaps a bit breezy, but notice once that system passes by Sunday and into Monday and next week, a front slides in behind this system, and that may squeeze out a few showers. That's our next best chance for rain, though. I'm not seeing a lot of wet weather, only around a 20% for Monday of next week. There is a hurricane out in the Atlantic, Hurricane Nigel. That system is going to move to the north. You can track that along with us on the First Alert Weather app, but not expecting that system to make any crazy turns or move towards the Gulf of Mexico. We are going to stay very dry. It's starting to look like a fall forecast here. I mean, we get into September, October, the forecast certainly starts trending drier. You can see there for Saturday, first day of fall, arrival of fall, 87 degrees, and it looks like, again, that small chance for maybe a shower around Monday of next week. But we're going to certainly be fine-tuning those temperatures in the forecast, and again, watching the weekend to see what kind of system that develops there off to the east of us. But going beyond the 7-day forecast, will we see another drop in temperatures? Well, let's head over to meteorologist Lauren Linehan.
Well, Wes, hate to break it to you, nope, doesn't look that way. So as we look at the forecast for temperatures 8 to 14 days from now, it does seem to be favoring across much of the U.S. above average temperatures. And yes, that does include us here in Sweet Home, Alabama. Now you look at this and you're like, oh no, is this like 100-degree heat? Average is in the mid 80s this time of the year, so it may end up being upper 80s, low 90s. Not too unbearable, but you know, this fall cool front has certainly teased us. So here we are looking at potential temperatures from September 24th all the way into the first few days of October, and generally showing above average temperatures. And then as far as those morning lows, hey, at least we're seeing more 60s in the forecast versus 70s. It being humid when you walk out the door, it immediately feels like you're wearing the air. But how about the precipitation outlook? Well, across Alabama, the possibility of above average precipitation as we get into the latter half of the month and going into early October. So this is that 8 to 14 day rainfall outlook. As we look at our future cast here we are Tuesday, September 26th. So early next week, you can see a little bit of a dip in the jet stream here, a trough potentially setting up over the eastern U.S. And so that could potentially bring us a better chance of showers as we go forward in time next week. But in the meantime, dry weather is here to stay in central Alabama, at least for this week. So we've been talking about Alabama's forecast, but tonight on Weather Extra, we want to take you all the way out to the West Coast and California's Bay Area. A historic sighting recently occurred. For the first time in more than a century, a baby beaver has been spotted. Lauren Martinez has more on why this is important for the ecosystem.
This small ball of fuzz you see scampering across is a big deal for wildlife experts.
That little beaver, boom, 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 went down there.
In August, Bill Lycum said one of his trail cameras near Matadero Creek in Palo Alto captured a baby beaver.
For this area, there have not been any beavers in this particular Matadero Creek for over 160 years.
Experts say the industrial fur trade pushed the population to near extinction. To see the beaver come back on its own is a huge moment.
That was a trek to get there. Those beavers were looking for new habitat. They were looking for a new place to settle down, and they found it somewhere that they probably haven't been for 200 plus years, which is just a huge moment for, ecological restoration and bringing back a pretty awesome species to the bay.
Beavers offer a slew of benefits to other animals and humans.
So beaver ponds and the wetlands that they build are hotspots of biodiversity. They're uniquely resistant to droughts and to wildfires. And they can help take the power out of floodwaves so that when we have these big atmospheric rivers and other kinds of storm events, it's not so destructive downstream.
Since beavers travel upstream, Dr. Rick Landman has an idea of where they could head next.
San Francisco Creek is unique in the South Bay because it's not concrete, it's natural. So it could provide a corridor for beaver to get from this baylands to the uplands, which is where we need them to get to fight fires for us, right?
Last year, Bill Lycum said his trail cameras captured a pair of beavers. While there's no confirmation they produced offspring, the video of the young beaver is offering researchers hope for their future.
It's exciting. It's part of the reason why I do all this.
This animal has been here before, but it's been so long and it's finally back. It's not that they're moving into California or moving into the Bay for the first time. Like, the beaver's coming home.
In the South Bay, Lauren Martinez, ABC 7 News.
Okay, well, the big weather story here. We're going to have some cool temperatures, that taste of fall to start the week. Yeah, we're making a run for the pumpkin spice tonight, right?
We are. Yes, we are, Wes. We love our pumpkin spice around here.
Hey, we got some Weather 101 tonight.
Yeah, Wes, that's right. You know, we asked earlier what type of clouds are thin, wispy, and made of ice. And Wes gave you a hint, peek outside, because they were outside earlier today. Their correct answer is our dear friend, the cirrus cloud. They're so friendly. They're not bothering anyone. They just kind of like a little veil over the sky sometimes.
We love cirrus clouds, and you know, sometimes when you see the ring around the moon, and cirrus clouds are what we call the ice clouds. They're the high altitude clouds, and sometimes it can be an early sign the atmosphere is actually moistening up. You know, a lot of folks say, I see a ring around the moon, that means it's going to rain soon.
Right, that's so true. So we love looking at cirrus clouds, and they're not the kind that is going to bring you a storm, but when you do see them, like you said, it's like, ooh, there could be some moisture coming back.
That's right.
But not just yet. In the meantime, though, we did have plenty of moisture over the weekend. We want to show you video that was actually sent in from Gray's own James Finch. This was of a rain delay at the UAB game at it was at Protective Stadium this weekend. So you can see that certainly caused some problems.
Yeah,
but
it poured Saturday evening, and we had some big time storms in the area too.
We did, but hey, after the rain comes the sunrise and sunset. And join us back here on Weather Extra tomorrow night at 6:30. Have a safe and happy Monday.